10,000 litre milk tank. Customer tells me he bought it and whilst unloading it, it dropped on the floor. This corner leg got damaged and the stainless steel cone, it should be on this corner here, collapsed. The leg itself buckled and this thread got bent. Looks like the customer's straightened the thread. Also the adjustable leg on this side got damaged. This is the damaged cone. Cut that down there and there and replace these two. These are the two legs that got damaged. This is the leg that took most of the weight. That leg is the one that was in that cone. This looks like a standard piece of 2-inch tube. It's only 1.5 mm wall thickness by the looks of things. .3 mm. That's not standard 2-inch dairy tube. I think that's BSP, British Standard Pipe size. So it's 1.5 inch nominal bore British Standard pipe. Only it's got a very thin wall. It looks like the customer's been trying to straighten that leg. Anyway, I'll be cutting this piece of tube out at the top and bottom. The tube's welded to a solid piece at the top and at the bottom, and then I shall weld a new piece in. I've cut 2 lengths of tube. It is 1.5 inch BSP tube. It does have a thicker wall to it. The OD is the same as the original legs, but this tube is a smaller bore, a thicker wall. The only problem is that I'll have to alter the size of this rebate on these 2 end pieces. I'll have to machine that rebate a bit deeper to fit into that bore. Got the end caps machined. They're ready for welding into the tubes. I'll just put a chamfer on the ends to weld into. Got the damaged section of the cone cut away. This was slightly buckled on these two edges. Straighten those out. Now I need to fabricate two sides onto there. Just starting to fabricate the two panels for the cone. I've got to put a flare here for the leg to pass through. So before I cut the metal to size, I need to be able to clamp the metal here and here whilst I'm putting the flare in. So I've made a little jig and I'm just flaring one now. I'm using a drift and just I've got the metal clamped down. I'm just drifting the panel down into the jig I've made. Made one flare. The cone originally was made out of one piece. It was bent around 3 corners and then welded on the 4th corner. I shall be welding in 2 separate pieces, so that'll involve 3 welds. Got those 2 panels made. I think that'll work out. So I'll tack weld those together and see what it looks like. This bracket here also has to be welded to the inside of one of these panels. It's just welded on the inside of that bracket. So the cone is that way up underneath the tank, and the thread that the leg screws on passes down through here, and the leg screws up onto the thread. Got the cone welded up. That's where the bracket's welded on the inside. I'll just tidy these welds up around here. Got the cone completed. Cleaned the welds up. I've also made the 2 legs. Got the end caps welded on. One of these had a this one I think it was, that thread in there was damaged a bit, so I've cleaned that up a bit. Next job is to take these back to the farm and fit them on the tank. This will be welded to the underside of the tank, and then screw the legs back on. Something else I've had to do. I needed a special spanner, 32mm across the flats, to screw this nut on. This nut has to screw up the leg thread. The leg thread sticks out of the cone to about here, and this nut has to screw all the way up to the underside of the bracket inside the cone. I didn't have a spanner suitable. It's 32mm across the flats, and it has to be this length to reach up inside there. So I've just bent a strip of stainless around the nut, welded it up, and then welded it onto the end of a piece of tube. That should do the job. Back on site again. Jack the tank up, get some clearance underneath. Got the tank jacked up. I've just cleaned this thread up. It was damaged a bit at the bottom here. Check the leg, and that screws on. So my next job now is to line up the stainless steel cone and get it welded into place. That's the cone welded on. Had to grind the cone to shape to fit the bottom of the tank around the corners. Got the leg screwed in. Got the new leg on the other side. Got the tank down off the jack. So that's the job complete.